Thanks so much for your time today, Mark. You're a man of many talents, I hear. What firm do you work for?
Or lack of focus.
Tell me about your two positions.
So for the last decade, I've been a member of Draper Triangle Ventures, which is a Pittsburgh-based venture capital fund, a member of the Draper Fisher Jervison network of funds.
Okay.
I'm actually located in Cincinnati, Ohio. The firm is headquartered in Pittsburgh, but we do have an Ohio presence, and so I represent the firm in that part of the country. And Draper Triangles is a true Series A lead technology investor, both in medical and in IT. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, I started another firm, a complementary strategy and the firm's called West Capital Advisors. And to make it simple is that we represent corporate venture capital. So we, instead of corporations forming their own internal, CVC entity and program, they would contract with us to execute that for them as a third party, but still representing them in the market. So corporate venture capital is a little bit later typically when it invests, semantically in like Series B and C rounds, whereas Triangle Series A, and so it complements. So I maintain a venture partner relationship with Draper Triangle, but most of my focus is on trying to advance the art and practice of corporate venture capital.
And as you said earlier, corporate venture capital is a very different beast. You've qualified by focusing on what stages it would focus on. Can you give me any further clarification? Because it isn't something that I've really investigated, so I'm interested.
Right. Well, we had a session here at the NVCA that's completely dedicated to it, so it's certainly growing. It's somewhat filling a void, that has, the well-documented void of the fact there's fewer venture funds in the market today than there were a decade ago, and some of that need for capital is being filled by strategic money, also known as corporate venture capital. In one sense, it's similar, right? Because you're trying to you're trying to invest in early stage, innovation, and aid it in the process of commercializing that innovation. It's different, of course, in that you don't have limited partners that you're working for. You are investing typically from the basis of a strategic objective, which means innovations that are relevant to the strategy of the company, either improving existing lines of business or developing complementary lines of business.
Right, okay. And as far as the changes that are happening in the venture industry, how is that affecting corporate venture capital?
I think again, I don't know that corporate venture capital has been growing because of the changes in the venture capital industry. I think, in fact, it's being impacted by it because CVC programs certainly need traditional venture funds to create innovations that would be relevant to them. But I think they're benefiting from it on another hand is because there's demand for the capital. Because there's a void left by the reduction in the number of venture funds and the amount of capital to that space, especially well documented where there's I think it's often called a barbell, where there's been a lot of individuals, angel investors come into the market, and so they're usually in the seed stage, the earliest of stages of a company, and then the venture funds that remain have become larger, and so therefore they're investing later. They're more in the Series C or expansion stage, and it's been well documented this void in the Series A, B, C stages, and so corporations can do a very nice job of helping fill that void. So they're benefiting because there's demand. So demand creates deal flow and opportunity.
Right.
So I think both. There's concern that with the reduction in traditional venture funds, it's going to hinder deal flow. The ability to create these innovations, but there's opportunity in that they need the money, and startups always need the perspective of a customer. How relevant really is this technology, and what is the value to the market, and what are the opportunities to sell it.
And tell me, what is the entrepreneurial ecosystem like in Cincinnati?
Or in the Midwest, maybe. Yeah. So, or in the upper Midwest.
Okay. What do you usually invest in?
It's a bit contrarian. I mean, well, Cincinnati specifically is the one area that we have arguably world-class skill sets in is in consumer marketing.
Okay.
And if you just stop and think about that for a second, there's 3 of the largest consumer products companies in the world happen to be headquartered in Cincinnati: Procter & Gamble, Kroger's, and Macy's. So as a result of that, there's a lot of service providers around them, agencies and digital marketing, entities and other types of innovators around, helping these companies execute in today's retail world and consumer products world. So that's actually driving a lot of innovation in that kind of consumer science area. And so you're seeing a lot of those opportunities in Cincinnati. Geographically, if you branch out from there, pretty strong life science because of in pediatrics, because you got Children's Hospital is the second largest research entity in the country in pediatric research, and then of course you got Cleveland Clinic up in Cleveland, which has a huge research, and UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center in Pittsburgh, is very well internationally regarded in terms of its research and innovation. So. You kind of up in the up towards the Great Lakes, you're seeing a lot of life science, and down where we are, a lot of consumer science.
Fabulous. Well, it sounds like a thriving center of
growing
startups.
Growing, because a lot of, the other interesting thing about that sort of band from, Michigan, Ohio to Pennsylvania is a lot of public-private programs have been put in place over the last decade to create a better ecosystem to launch, to form and launch new businesses. Some of that's desperation-based. It's well documented, the challenges of the Michigan economy. And if you go back 20 years, Pennsylvania had a tough economy because they lost the steel industry, but that actually spurred innovation, which is kind of what America does, right? When things are bad, we figure out what to do, and Pittsburgh's done a phenomenal job. They completely transformed the city, really levered some great assets, known as Carnegie Mellon and University of Pittsburgh, great research schools, and has dramatically, changed the tenor of the city. And it's a very vibrant city. I would put it on a par from a venture opportunity to an Austin, a Boulder. It's really pretty spectacular.
Well, thank you so much for that little window into that community.
No, it's pretty fun.
Definitely don't hear about that so much.
I shouldn't tell anybody. It's our little, we have our competitive advantage, right?
Secret.
Yeah, our competitive advantage. Yes, I know.
And now we're going to blow the secret.
No, I think Draper Triangle has certainly benefited from this and has done very well. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Well,
so we're raising our 3rd fund right now, and it's going well.
Congratulations.
It's going well.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, all the best with the firm and also with the
with West Capital. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. No, thanks for talking to me. Thanks.